We hear over and over again how well the game of soccer is marketed in the United States. We hear about the fact that the game is growing. We hear about the fact that the teams are getting better. The leagues are getting better. Well, wait a minute, I'm going to stop right there. Because as I look at the game, and here's what I do. I go to the websites of the major networks. I go to CBS Sports, NBC Sports, Yahoo Sports, USA Today Sports, ESPN. And what I do is go right to their soccer section. Every single one of them, the only thing I see on their front page is what's happening at Man United, what's happening at Juventus, what's happening in this league overseas, this league in South America. I have got to actually spend time and drill down to get to something about the MLS, the USL, the women's national team, the men's national team. It takes forever to get there. It's shoving the game at me from an international standpoint, and I don't see it from the home standpoint. And to me, that comes down to this. Soccer has done a terrible job, a ridiculously bad job, in promoting its athletes. I mean, on the women's team, let's go to the U.S. women's national team, great job. You see their players in commercials, you see them making appearances, you see them doing interviews. Men's team, are you kidding? It's almost as if they're in the witness protection program that the U.S. national soccer team is keeping them hidden. We don't want anybody to know about them. That's the problem that I have. Bruce, the marketing of the game and the athletes in this country is abominable, and it should be better because people can't identify with a sport unless they can identify with the great stars of the game. And right now, you could ask 100 people on the street to name the best player, one player in MLS. I'll bet you if you ask 100 people on a street in Manhattan or Boise, Idaho, 4 people would know, and that's about it. That bothers me.
All right, I don't think it's quite 4 people, and I think that you would find
5.
a few more people in New York City than you would in Boise.
That's why I put Boise in there, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I get it. But if they were playing football in Boise, they would be doing it on a blue surface. Okay, so let's just put it right there. And there's a great example of marketing the game. It's Boise, Idaho, and they've figured out how to make the game a big deal in Turkey. You know, talking about Boise State, of course. I think there are things that the game of football in the United States needs to do to, number one, be relevant. It is part of the Big Five, but I think it's number 5 looking in, and it doesn't need to be. You know, you talked about the original NASL. You talk about the original NASL, and you start talking about marketing of the game. You had a great slogan, "It's a kick in the grass." You had a great player in Pelé that came to the United States and played for the New York Cosmos in 75, 76, and 77. Unfortunately, that league died. So it's a restart. It's not an excuse. We are many years later. The MLS is more than 25 years old. USL is going and growing at an unbelievable rate. There's more teams in USL Championship, USL League One, League Two than there is in MLS. I believe that USL is going to introduce promotion and relegation. I think that's going to be a marketing tool that's going to be very, very popular because, you know, a moment ago you were just talking about the coverage overseas and the coverage not being about MLS and USL.
Well, no. I was talking about major sports websites that are based in America.
Yes.
CBS, NBC, ESPN, USA Today,
soccer.
Yahoo, and they're not covering USL, MLS. I mean, it's infinitesimally small, the amount of coverage they give to these sports.
Let's break that down. Number one, overseas has promotion and relegation. It's a compelling story. We'll talk more about promotion and relegation on another show. But
we can mention it here. That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I got it. But I do want to get more in depth about ProRel for an entire show. But ProRel is part of the marketing of the game. It's exciting.
Explain ProRel to those who don't understand it.
So promotion and relegation is a concept that is very familiar with soccer around the world, not in the United States. We have promotion and relegation, but our promotion and relegation is by individual player, not by a team. So overseas, you have, say, 20 teams in the Premier League, and the bottom three get relegated to the second division of soccer in England, and the top three teams in that second division at the end of the season get promoted into the Premier League, and that creates an opportunity for marketing, for promotion, for excitement. Teams that are at the bottom in the Premier League, in League One, they're fighting to stay in the top tier league. The teams in the second division are trying to get to the first division and then stay there. You have some very storied franchises that are not in first division anymore. Some of them have dropped to 2 and 3. We learned, you know what, it's interesting. We joke about Ted Lasso on this show a lot, and I said, football is life. Well, in the first season of Ted Lasso, they directly addressed promotion and relegation, and the team that was in the Premier League got relegated. I would believe that more people in the United States know about promotion and relegation from Ted Lasso than they do from watching American soccer.
Not only do I agree with you, but I'm going to tell you how to introduce it to the United States, because we need to, and I don't care, we need to dumb this down occasionally, okay? Promotion, demotion. That's it. Let's stop with relegation and say what you're going to do is you're going to be demoted. I realize that we're just playing semantics here, but to a United States audience who is not used to generations of relegation, they're going to think about it and go, "What the hell is that?" I've had people
because we're so used to the playoffs.
So what you need to do is
we're just used to playoffs.
Well, no, not even the playoffs. But look, your idea is a good one. Take the leagues themselves and make it so that, see, I've always talked about this. Split that league. And if you want to become one of the greats, if you want to become a champion, you've got to get up here. You got to play up here. Well, you got to get from here to here. However, in the United States, what we have are things called wild card playoffs and expanded playoffs, which they don't have in the soccer leagues in Europe. You have X number and there it is. So you've got to make a decision. Do you want to then split those into leagues, if you will, upper and lower, to where you have to reach up here in order to move on? Or do you just want to expand the playoffs so that at least you get to me, with an American audience, Bruce, it's expanded playoffs is what it means. That's what we understand. That's what we know. That's what people are used to.
And the reason for that is in the United States, NFL, NBA, NHL, what did I leave out?
NBA, Major League
NHL,
Baseball,
NBA,
hockey, basketball, even NASCAR now has a wild card playoff system.
So I think the difference between football in the United States, talk about soccer in the United States, soccer overseas. Overseas, there aren't rival leagues to Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL. There just isn't. So we're used to playoffs here. That's our system. You have a record, you make the playoffs, you play for a championship. In soccer, that's been a different system around the world. The difference is that system did not come to the United States.
Right.
We created soccer in the United States to be on par and have a same type of setup as the Big Four here in the United States. And so I think what's going to happen is I truly believe that USL as an organization is going to introduce promotion and relegation. They're already set up for it. They have, USL Championship, which is considered the second division in the United States. They've got USL League One, which is considered third division. They have USL League Two, which is fourth division. Now, what I believe is going to happen is a number of teams that have been a part of the USL system for years that are associated with MLS teams. I think you're going to see most of those MLS affiliated teams leave USL, and they're going to have a lower division within MLS. It's not going to be for promotion and relegation. It's going to be development for homegrown players, for players that they sign to get them ready for MLS.